Hello, this is Bonnie Gabowitz for Ward Talk. Here in Ward Talk, we discuss different issues and responsibilities and solutions for the city of Ann Arbor. And today I'm welcoming Kathy Griswold from Ward 2. Welcome, Kathy, and Happy New Year to you, being December of this year. And I'm very interested in knowing, first of all, what's happening with Ward 2, any updates, anything new?
Okay, thank you for having me. We're continuing to work on pedestrian and cycling infrastructure, continuing to repair our roads in a slow manner, but there are proposals to increase that. We have a new development that was by right on Earhart Road, which will be single family homes. I voted against it because I would prefer that we not have more single family homes. They're not consistent with our sustainability initiatives. However, housing developments usually take many years in the planning process. I am trying to maximize the improvements to Earhart Road that will be done by the developer and by the city as a result of this large development.
When you talk about the development, how many housing units or homes are we talking about?
I think the proposed about 200.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it is large, and I don't have the exact number. And as most people know, sometimes that changes during the site plan review. But,
so in terms of, are you the only one who voted against it? What was the vote?
I think 2 other council members voted against it. Mm-hmm. So I hate to speak for others. There was some discussion because by right development, some council members feel like we just automatically have to vote yes. However, in the past, when we voted no, it's provided an opportunity to negotiate with the developer, and sometimes we get a slightly better deal. In this case, we weren't going to get multifamily, multi-story housing. You know, it wouldn't have been ideal for our sustainability goals, and it really wouldn't have fit into the neighborhood. But I would have preferred further negotiations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so, but this is still the beginning stages of dealing with the proposal?
Yes, yeah, I have seen the actual layout and where the streets will be and intersections coming off Earhart Road.
Okay, and in terms of your ward, have you gotten any feedback as to the improvements that the city's been working on with the safety and traffic and better roads and cycling opportunities? Are you getting any feedback?
Much of the feedback has been, I guess I'd classify it as concern. If we're going to do something for pedestrians or cyclists, we need to make sure, number one, we do it right the first time because funds are always limited. And we need to think about safety. I mean, I've been talking about pedestrian safety for over 2 decades, and now it seems to be a popular buzz phrase, but it's not always, we don't have statistics to prove that what we're doing is actually going to improve safety. It may be an additional bike lane on a road, and we've added bike lanes on Plymouth Road and also on Packard, but there's mixed feelings about whether one is safer on there or if we should have waited and provided a better off-road infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So I don't have the answer, and we have to go, you know, with the council majority on some of these issues. But I continue to be very concerned about pedestrian safety. Even on Earhart Road, we have 2 school crosswalks that have no illumination within, say, 100 feet. And we've made tremendous progress since 2016 in in lighting our crosswalks, but we're not done yet. And I hope that with federal funding, we can wrap up that project and never build another crosswalk without lighting.
All right, well, we'll have to keep checking up on that in the near
Okay.
future. Thank you for that. Let's move on to the city then.
Okay.
First of all, this being December of 2021, as of January, I understand that there's a state law now requiring that certain large public meetings occur in person now. For what, almost 2 years now, the city has been meeting electronically, and you've made adjustments with that. So what is the plan for the January meetings in terms of how involved the citizens can give input?
Well, per the Open Meetings Act, we will have to meet in person. And we have staff working on a hybrid model. I know that Scioto Township was already using that, so that community members may either attend in person or may attend via Zoom. It's the software that we've been using. I was talking to our city attorneys today about that, because if we have to quarantine as council members, will we be allowed to call in? And under state law right now, we are not allowed to engage in any way if we're not in the building.
Well, unfortunately, we have this new variant who's showing up now in the state of Michigan, so that really becomes an issue. I guess we just have to wait and see how it affects public meetings.
Yes, and I am confident that our state rep Yusuf Rabi and our state senator Jeff Irwin will continue to try to negotiate with the Republican-controlled House and Senate to get an exception to this. I'm over 65, and I was notified last Sunday that I had been at an event on Thursday night a week ago where an unvaccinated individual was sitting within 6 feet of me for dinner and tested positive on Saturday. So I've been very concerned. I mean, I now take my temperature every morning. I've had 2 tests. And even though I'm fully vaccinated, I'm very concerned. And I just have to assume that anyone I encounter is not vaccinated. And I'm told that staff is working on some like plexiglass partitions in front of council members. So it'll sort of be like at the grocery stores where the clerk is behind the plexiglass.
So, well, we'll see what modifications will have to be made, and we'll just stay tuned. But I assume that citizens can go on the website and check on any news about any changes that will be available on the website.
Absolutely. And I know that Fourth Ward Council Member Elizabeth Nelson has a newsletter and a website, and she is, if you just Google her name, it'll bring up the information, and she is very good at keeping everyone informed. We have a communications department, but they have many, many topics to be communicating on. And so council communications, I always recommend that people go to Councilmember Elizabeth Nelson's website. Another positive is we're going to have compost pickup on the first week of every month through the winter. It will only be for the carts, not for bags.
Now, how is this different from last year?
I don't believe we did winter compost last year. So I'm not aware of it. And I know my husband just said today, oh, I can go out and rake and fill a few bags. And I said, no, we're not going to pick up the bags, because for one thing, they might be frozen to the ground. And if they might be full of ice if it rains. So at least one compost bin pickup a month is what's planned.
That's good news. Okay, now in terms of affordable housing, I understand quite a few proposals have come in for affordable housing. I understand there are 2 properties the city owns. They're looking to build. So what's happening with that?
We have a request for proposals for 2 of those sites, the one near Carytown and the one on South Main Street at William. Decisions haven't been made yet. To my knowledge, those 2 would be all affordable housing. We have 5 other sites that would be that are being considered that would be partially affordable housing. That my own personal priority is the Y lot to try to get affordable housing, and that's going to be a mix of affordable and market rate housing. But I can remember when the Y had rooms and all of the people that lived there, and we made a promise to them that we would replace that housing. And so I'd really like to see that go forward. And it is in the process. It obviously, when you're building hundreds of units, it takes years.
Yeah. And it's been available for development for quite a few years now, hasn't it? It's been a long time.
Yes, it has. And I don't even want to go into all the history. It'll just upset me again, but I'm ready for it to be built. Another idea that I've had that's still sort of in the visioning phase is I would like to see 2,000 units of workforce housing built on North Campus. There are many custodians, office support people who work at the medical center in support positions, and nurses who commute long distances. And then in some cases, the university is providing busing from the northeast side of town down to the hospital. And I'm very familiar with the North Campus area, and I think it would be quite easy for the university to do a 99-year lease on some property, probably multiple sites, have a private developer build the housing, and the city would then get taxes on the building, but not on the property if it was a lease, as far as I know. And I'm just trying to further this idea that we'll have to have experts that work on it. But to date, I've talked to the university president, some of the regents, a number of staffers, and no one is against it. It's just a matter of how we fit it into the comprehensive plan. And Sue Gott right now, the university planner, is involved in a comprehensive plan for North Campus. So the timing is perfect. They're planning to replace some of the student housing that was built, I believe, in the 50s.
Okay, Kathy, we're going to take a break now.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll continue talking about housing and some more issues with the city.
Okay, thank you for having me.
This is Bonnie Gabowitz for Ward Talk. We're taking a break now. We'd love to hear from you. If you ever want to email us, you can email us at ctn@a2gov.org. You can also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/CTN Ann Arbor. We'll be right back.
Ottawa is about to be one of the first cities in Canada with advisory cycling lanes. Popular in Europe and in the US, the system is great for adding cycling lanes to streets where they wouldn't otherwise fit, narrow roads with low volume traffic and low speeds. Here's how they work. Traffic from both sides share one center lane. Cycling lanes are placed on each side of the road. When there are 2 drivers traveling in opposite directions, the vehicles move into the cycling lanes to pass each other safely. What happens if there's a bike in the cycling lane? Whoever is in front has the right of way. Vehicles travel behind the bike, but can then move back into the center lane when it is safe to do so. It is a whole new way for drivers and cyclists to share the road.
The locations for the advisory bike lanes in Ann Arbor have been deployed on East Summit Street, Granger between State Street and Packer, and in the downtown on East William Street and South First Avenue.
Ann Arbor is home to more than 150 parks. That's 150 reasons to get out and get active around town. In addition to more traditional parks, Ann Arbor has some unique amenities, like the Universal Access Playground, Ann Arbor Skate Park, and 2 disc golf courses, all free of charge. With all of this and more, Ann Arbor is sure to have something fun for everyone. Come out and see for yourself. Visit a2gov.org/parks or call 734-794-6230 for more information.
Hi, this is Bonnie Gabowitz. We're back with Ward Talks. We're speaking with Kathy Griswold from Ward 2. Thank you, Kathy, for discussing your particular ward, and you mentioned some opportunities for affordable housing, which I know you're very passionate about. Let's talk about some city government now. We have an interim city administrator who's looking at making some improvements and changes. He's made some proposals of what to look into to make changes. These are considerations, I think, at this point. But if you could illuminate us on some of the ideas that are new, I really want to hear about it.
Oh, okay. Yes. Milton Mahoney is our interim city administrator. I'm on the admin committee, and I really pushed hard to bring in a almost overqualified, very senior leader who could, in very simple terms, maybe right the ship and provide some leadership skills and even model that leadership for council members. And he has exceeded all expectations. I am absolutely thrilled. And I'm going to be meeting with him next week to talk about process improvement. And from the time I got on council, I've talked about operations and communications. And even though we're policymakers, I saw those areas as weaknesses. And he, I believe, shares my concern and has already made some improvements and identified individuals to be accountable for certain areas like streetlight outages that in the past we reported them and a committee worked on it, but now we have a point person. So that's a positive.
So you're talking about more thorough follow through.
Yes, a feedback loop, because especially whether it's affordable housing or pedestrian safety, sustainability, I mean, we've got to get it right the first time. We are in a crisis in this community, definitely in the country. And so we can't just do it the way we used to do it. And if it didn't quite work out, well, we've got enough money to try again.
And I understand he wanted to improve the website to make it more user friendly.
Yes, and I shared that concern. I've taken some classes in website usability, website design, and the technology continues to change. And I think users' expectations change. He was trying to learn more about the city before he even came here. Once he accepted the job, there was a little bit of a lag. And so he had an opportunity to really look at the website, and there were areas where he couldn't find the information that he wanted. So that's what I'm summarizing based on his comments. Would it be okay to mention some of the criticism regarding the dysfunction on council? I really think that Mr. Mahoney is going to be able to address that. We also have an excellent succession plan for a new city attorney who will be starting in April of this year. And the other thing that has happened for me personally is I've found an opportunity to engage the greater Ann Arbor, Washtenaw County community, because I'm in the minority and sometimes it's not easy to get something done within the city council. And so I've developed new relationships. I've been working with people at the townships, the state level, even Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. And so put a silver lining on this, I almost, I see this as a positive. And that leads me to what we've been working on with the Gelman plume.
Mhm.
And Scioto Township just took it upon themselves to start doing residential well testing. And they're
So
using,
is this new, the well testing?
we have, well, when I say we, Eagle, which is the old environmental quality group, they do some testing. Gelman is required by law to do some testing. But the EPA, who is on site analyzing the situation right now, they test at a much lower level so they can detect very, less than 1 part per billion of dioxane. And in most communities, that doesn't matter because we're not trying to track a known body of dioxane. But Scioto Township tested residential wells, and I believe the results came back in the October time range, and they did detect some dioxane in residential wells outside of our known plume area. They just retested and they found 3 more wells that tested positive in the same area that is near Wagner and Miller Road. This is outside the area of the known plume. So it's very, go ahead.
So does this suggest that the plume is slowly but surely is spreading?
Yes, and we knew that it was spreading, but it's spreading in ways and in directions that we did not predict, and we did not predict it spreading this rapidly. Now, I'm just a layman, in all of this, but that's my take on it. We have experts, Roger Rail and Dan Bicknell, and many others who understand this better. But there is some concern in my constituents, even in the second ward, have raised concern that we really need to get control of this plume and know where it's going and have a firm remediation process.
Mhm. Okay, well, that's definitely news. So we'll keep checking in on that topic.
Oh, okay.
I appreciate your participation in this as well. Let's talk about the council relations. If we look back in the past year, there have been some issues that the council had to work on in terms of how their behavior and whether it's satisfactory within the council and outside of the council. I'm referring to Jeff Hayner, and I believe there were some changes made with Councilmember Ramlawi and Nelson. Could you touch upon that and give us your point of view?
To be very direct, I do not support those changes. I believe that they are politically motivated. Jeff Hayner did use some inappropriate language. We can all agree on that. But that was, last year's issue, in my opinion. And, the punishment just doesn't fit the crime. And I believe that it's more divisive for our community for people to keep bringing it up and bringing it up. We can't heal while that is happening. Regarding.
Yeah, and just to specify for people who aren't aware, his appointments for extra involvement with committees and commissions were taken away from him. Is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And then with 2 other council members, I've seen all of the documentation. The It's purely speculation at this point, and that was one of the reasons I was talking to the city attorney and assistant city attorney today. We had what was called an independent investigation. However, as a member of the administration committee, I was not interviewed and I had additional information. So it's hard to say it was independent when.
Well, not only that, but maybe you would describe as incomplete.
It's definitely incomplete, and that's something, and I've talked to other community members, including well-respected lawyers, and it's not just a legal issue. Again, it's sort of a process issue with how City Hall operates. And I come from the corporate world where lawyers did not play such an oversized role in the day-to-day management of our city. And so I think that we can be more proactive. We can improve our management methodology so that issues don't come to the point of needing legal interference, I would call it, legal, resolution, because lawyers are trained to argue a position. And it's very difficult to do an independent evaluation and be very objective. I mean, just the nature of their training. So I probably gotten myself in trouble, but I'm optimistic about the future.
Well, let's talk about the future. What do you hope for the year to come in terms of how things can be resolved? What do you see as possible?
Okay. I want to continue my work on trying to get 2,000 units of workforce housing on the Michigan campus. I want to continue to work on affordable housing and pedestrian safety, sustainability. There are so many important issues, but I think overriding those is the need to improve our day-to-day operations and the way that we implement new initiatives and what our expectations are and the requirement for feedback. Council has sort of a history of just going from one new initiative to another without actually giving staff time to assess what's happening. And so I don't want to be critical of staff in any way, but as council members, we need to be much clearer and put some focus on evaluation. And again, we need to do it right the first time. It's that simple.
And in the minute we have left, you are involved with some other committees or commissions. Is there anything you want to touch upon with that?
With the Environmental Commission, I'm planning to bring a resolution at the next meeting. I really want to acknowledge the work that Scioto Township has done in terms of testing with something called the 522 method, which picks up, we'll be able to detect much smaller amounts of dioxane. So we can better manage the plume. We're never going to be able to clean it up completely, but we have to know where it is if we're going to address it and clean it up.
Great. Well, how many years now have you been on the council?
I've been on council for 3 years and on the school board for 4 years previously. So it feels like a lifetime of service.
Well, it sounds like you're very, very involved and you want the best for the city and you recognize the weak spots and you're looking forward to a better year, as we all are. So I'd like to thank you for your time.
Thank you for those comments. Yes, thank you.
And this is Bonnie Gabowitz for Ward Talk. I'd like to invite you to email us at ctn@a2gov.org. You could also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/CTN Ann Arbor. For Ward Talk, Happy New Year, and we'll see you in the next year.